Either your bike is your pride and joy, or it's a tool that you use to get to and from work. Either way, breaking your bike is a real pain and something that you want to avoid at all costs. Although accidents, of course, do happen from time to time, but most of the time you can avoid breaking your bike by following some simple steps that we're going to go over today. But before we get into those, head over to the GCN app and tell us how well you look after your bike. The best way to make sure that your bike is running as smoothly as possible for as long as possible is to keep it clean. Now, this is super important if you live in a place that gets cold and nasty during the winter. Basically, if you're from a country where they sand and salt the roads like they do where I'm from, if you can, give your bike a wash after a day like that being out. Otherwise, if you don't have weather like that, basic things like degreasing the drivetrain and re-lubing the chain is going to work wonders. So save a lot of money in the long run by doing a little bit of work throughout the week. It'll also lead to a much happier machine the next time you go out for a ride. Think of your bike just like you do your car. If you own a car, you'll be used to doing regular servicing that it requires to keep running safe and sound. Now, the trouble with bicycle owners is that they always assume that their bikes are going to be working without even touching them. Trust me, if you do nothing and use your bike regularly, it is going to need some TLC, tender love and care, to keep going. You can either drop it into your local shop, or you can also perform some of the tasks at home by yourself. Of course, the bearings might need re-greasing or to be replaced if they're worn out. Chain rings, chains, cassettes may all need replacing as they wear out as well. Also, tires go bald, bar tape gets ripped, the list goes on. Point being, if you service regularly, then you can avoid major mechanical issues. A surefire way to break your bike is to ride it carelessly and rough. If you drive your bike though through every pothole that you see out on the road, you're gonna get a broken wheel or a pinched flat. That's the best case scenario. So take it from me, an off-roader at heart, I ended up breaking a lot of road bikes, unfortunately. If you have a nasty habit of riding up curbs without being able to pick up your rear wheel and hitting it on whatever you're jumping over, you're asking for trouble there too. Even possibly a broken bike. And it's not just road obstacles that can cause damage, but more so the style of riding that you do. Don't slam through the gears as you're putting power down or skid through every corner like an excited teenager. None of these things are gonna do your bike any favors. How you store your bikes is usually a sign of how well you take care of your bikes. Now, there are a couple different camps out there with regards to storing bikes. First of all, there's the people that have a dedicated room in their house with an individual spot on the wall, evenly spaced to accommodate lots of bikes comfortably. There's also people who just take their bike, toss in the hallway where it's getting constantly knocked around and abused. And I don't even want to mention the third type, but they are out there. People who store their bikes outside. Now, if you store your bike properly, it is going to treat you right in the long run. So if you do, though, have to keep it in a garage or a shed, then you need to consider temperature changes and additional moisture and how that's going to affect your components. Now, you'd want to consider something like a dehumidifier if you store your bike in a high humidity situation, as that will definitely accelerate the wear and tear considerably, especially after sweat and dirt and gels and water and all that stuff get all over it. If you have a nice climate controlled area for your machine where it can be warm indoors and out of harm's way, all the better. Just like when you're storing your bike, not taking care of it when you travel could shorten its life, ruin the paint, or even worse, break stuff. If you're packing the bike in the back of the car, don't just smash it in there. Take care. Remove the wheels, use some old blankets, wheel bags, large bits of cardboard or foam to help protect the vital parts of the bike from being scratched or damaged. Now, derailleurs are particularly fragile, so be careful there and pay close attention to how you pack around them. And it should go without saying that you don't want to put heavy luggage or bags on top of your bike when it's in the back of the car. You have to think about potholes and bumps and compressions. That's going to really mess up the bike in the back of the car if you're not careful with how you pack it. Now, if you're taking your bike on a plane with you, then you want to make sure that you use a proper bike box. If you're using a cardboard bike box, be sure to wrap each individual tube with foam, take off your derailleur, zip tie your bars to your frame so not flopping all around there with everybody else handling your bike. You don't want to think about how you handle your bike with lots of care. You need to think about how someone else is going to be handling your bike. Also, if you're going to ship your bike, ground often sees the most people handling the packages because it has multiple stops, whereas shipping it with air, it's generally going to see less people handling it because it's going to be going from destination A to B pretty quickly, so you want to pack accordingly. So that's 5 surefire ways to break your bike with some tips along the way to also not break your bike. If you're like us, you want to have your bike have a nice, long, happy life. You don't want to break it with all of those ridiculous things that we typically do that we don't intend to, but unfortunately also sometimes happen. If you guys have had one of those things happen, leave us a comment down below. Let us know the most ridiculous thing that you've ever done to break your bike. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.